Welcome back to Crypto Equation. And today we step into one of the most powerful and emotional questions circulating through the XRP community. A question that carries hope, curiosity, belief, and a quiet sense of anticipation. Is 3,000 XRP enough to change your life? It is a question that echoes through conversations, forum posts, videos, and late-night thoughts, but almost no one ever stops to ask what this question truly means. The truth is that 3,000 XRP is not a promise, not a guarantee, not a prediction. It is a symbol. It is a threshold that represents something far deeper than speculation. It represents your connection to a world that is shifting beneath the surface, a world losing patience with slow financial systems, and choosing instead to rebuild value movement from the ground up. What 3,000 XRP really means is not found in numbers, it is found in awareness. It is found in understanding the direction the world is heading in. It is found in recognizing that global finance is transforming, and that being early to this transformation gives people a sense of being positioned inside a moment of history. 3,000 XRP has become a milestone because it symbolizes readiness for the new digital age, not because of what it might become, but because of what it connects you to. To understand the significance of this number, you must first understand the environment it exists in. Today, the world is running on financial infrastructure that is outdated, slow, fragmented, and unable to support the demands of real-time global commerce. The rails moving value across borders were built for an era without smartphones, without digital identity, without automation, without cloud computing, and without the speed of modern life. And while the world has changed dramatically, the rails of global money have not. This mismatch has created an enormous gap between how people live and how value moves. Transactions take days. Settlements require intermediaries. Banks rely on pre-funded accounts across the world. Liquidity is trapped in stationary pools. And institutions pay billions every year just to move money slowly and inefficiently. The digital world cannot continue operating on an analog foundation. This is why the shift has begun. And this is why 3,000 XRP symbolizes something important. XRP was engineered not for speculation, but for settlement, for liquidity movement, for bridging isolated financial systems, for replacing slow cross-border processes with instantaneous execution. It was designed for the world we are now entering, a world where value must move the way information moves, instant globally and without friction. Many people do not realize this, but global commerce is undergoing a structural reset. Institutions are modernizing. Payment networks are upgrading. Governments are creating digital currency frameworks. Central banks are exploring new rails. Entire regions are shifting toward data-rich financial messaging. And beneath all of this sits a deeper truth: the world is preparing for real-time value movement. 3,000 XRP becomes meaningful in this context because it connects individuals to the architecture of this transition. Not as investors chasing speculation, but as early observers seeing the future of settlement before it becomes obvious. Now let us explore why the number 3,000 resonates so deeply. Humans create meaning through thresholds. A threshold represents a point of belonging, a sense of being involved, a moment of identity. 3,000 XRP has become one of those thresholds because it feels like a complete position inside the narrative of digital transformation. It feels like a personal milestone. It feels like a stake in the ground of a system being rebuilt. The number itself is not magical. The meaning behind it is. 3,000 XRP symbolizes the idea of having a foothold inside the new financial landscape that is unfolding right now. It symbolizes awareness of the transformation happening in global finance. It symbolizes being early to an infrastructure shift that only a fraction of the world understands. And so people ask, is 3,000 XRP enough to change my life? Not because they expect a guaranteed return, but because they sense that the financial world they grew up with is dissolving and a new one is being constructed right in front of them. Let us go deeper. To understand the meaning of 3,000 XRP, you must understand the forces reshaping the global financial system. The first force is instant global settlement. The world is moving toward rails that settle value in real time. The financial system of the future cannot operate with delays. It cannot operate with pre-funded accounts. It cannot operate with slow messaging systems. Instant settlement is not a luxury. It is a necessity. XRP was engineered for instant settlement. 3,000 XRP becomes symbolic because it represents being connected to a technology built around the very requirement the world is adopting. The second force is interoperability. Today, the world is financially fragmented. Systems do not communicate easily. Currencies are isolated. Networks are siloed. and every layer of fragmentation creates friction. The future of finance cannot operate on isolated systems. It must operate on unified interoperable rails. XRP was engineered to bridge systems, not replace them. It thrives in environments where interoperability is required. This alignment with the future makes 3000 XRP feel meaningful. The third force is liquidity transformation. Liquidity today is trapped across the world in accounts that support slow settlement. This trapped liquidity creates inefficiency at a scale most people cannot imagine. Institutions lose billions every year because they must hold funds in foreign accounts just to move money slowly. The digital economy cannot survive on trapped liquidity. It needs mobile liquidity. It needs liquidity that moves instead of waits. XRP was engineered for mobile liquidity. 3000 XRP becomes symbolic because it represents a small personal connection to a liquidity model that reflects the future of global value movement. The fourth force is regulatory modernization. Governments around the world are creating frameworks for digital currencies, digital assets, and tokenized markets. This regulatory shift signals that the world is preparing for new rails. And XRP aligns with these regulatory frameworks because it is one of the few digital assets designed for compliance-friendly settlement. 3000 XRP symbolizes awareness of a world that is becoming regulated around digital value. The fifth force is the rise of tokenization. Everything is being tokenized. Financial instruments, real estate, identity, contracts, ownership layers. Tokenized value cannot settle on outdated systems. It requires fast finality and global interoperability. XRP was engineered for real-time settlement of tokenized value. When people hold 3000 XRP, they feel connected to that future. Now let us explore the emotional side of this question. When people ask, is 3000 XRP enough to change my life? They are not asking about numbers. They are asking about meaning. They are asking about timing. They are asking about alignment. They are asking about whether they have positioned themselves inside a shift they believe is coming. This feeling of being early is powerful. It is not about guarantees or financial outcomes. It is about belonging to a moment in history. It is about being present at the birth of the digital financial era. It is about recognizing that the world has reached a point where the old system cannot support the demands of global commerce. 3000 XRP becomes a psychological anchor that represents this understanding. Now let us turn to the structural meaning. XRP's true purpose lies in settlement architecture. It is a technology that allows value to move across networks in real time without requiring pre-funded accounts, without relying on slow correspondent banking chains, and without being trapped inside outdated rails. Settlement is the heart of global finance, and the world is rebuilding the heart. 3000 XRP symbolizes being connected to a technology built for the new heart of global finance. Now let us examine something even deeper, the idea of future-proof settlement. The systems being built today are not for the world as it exists now. They are being built for the world 10, 20, 30 years from now. A world of instant commerce, automated supply chains, AI-driven financial systems, tokenized assets, cross-chain transactions, digital identities, and interoperable national currencies. The settlement layer of that world must be fast, neutral, and global. XRP was engineered for that world. 3000 XRP becomes symbolic because it represents being aligned with the future rather than clinging to the past. Now let us explore the psychological anchor behind this number. When people hold 3000 XRP, they feel prepared for something. They feel connected to something. They feel positioned for something they cannot fully articulate. This feeling does not come from price speculation. It comes from sensing the direction of global change. It is the feeling you get when you stand at the edge of a new era. It is the feeling of being aware before awareness becomes mainstream. It is the feeling of being aligned with the shift before the world sees the shift. This feeling is the true meaning behind the question. Is 3000 XRP enough to change your life? Because the life-changing aspect is not the asset itself, but the awareness it gives you of how the world is evolving. Now let us connect everything together. 3000 XRP represents awareness of the modernization of global finance, presence inside the shift toward instant settlement, a foothold in the world of tokenized value, alignment with interoperable global rails, connection to a liquidity model designed for digital commerce, understanding of the inefficiencies the world is trying to escape, recognition that the future will not run on the rails of the past. In the second half of this script, we will go even deeper into the psychology of early awareness, the global transformation happening beneath the surface, the meaning behind being positioned inside a technological shift, and why people feel that 3000 XRP represents a threshold inside the next era of value movement. Because now that we understand the environment surrounding the meaning of 3000 XRP, we must go deeper into the transformation unfolding beneath the surface, one that is far bigger than any individual asset and far bigger than speculation. It is the transformation of how value moves across the world and the shift toward real-time global financial infrastructure. This transformation is not theoretical. It is already in motion. And once you recognize the signs, you understand why people feel such a powerful pull toward milestones like 3000 XRP. It is not about the asset. It is about the era it represents. To understand this era, you must start with the truth that the global financial system is being rebuilt silently and urgently. Payment networks are no longer updating their systems for convenience. They are updating them because the next decade of digital commerce will break the old rails. Real-time markets require real-time settlement. Digital identities require digital clearing. Tokenized assets require interoperable rails. Artificial intelligence requires automated liquidity. And global commerce requires instant confirmation of value movement. Each of these requirements pushes the world closer to the type of infrastructure XRP was built for. 3000 XRP becomes symbolic because it represents participation in this new era. It represents understanding that the world is heading toward systems built around speed, transparency, interoperability, and automation. It represents recognizing that the future of global finance will not run on the rails that exist today. Now let us turn to the psychological dimension, because this shift is not only technological, it is emotional. People sense the change because the signals are everywhere. Banks testing new rails, governments discussing digital currencies, corporations adopting instant settlement solutions, payment networks migrating to new global standards. The transformation becomes visible to anyone paying attention. This is where the idea of 3000 XRP becomes a personal anchor, a reference point that helps people feel aligned with the global trend. When someone holds 3000 XRP, they feel that they are not just observing the shift, they are participating in it. They feel that they are positioned inside a moment that will define the rest of the digital era. This sense of participation is powerful because humans have always been drawn to moments of transition. We know instinctively when the world is changing. We know when an old system is losing relevance. We know when a new system is approaching. We can feel the tension building before anything dramatic happens. 3000 XRP becomes symbolic of being early to that feeling. Now let us explore the next layer, the shift toward digital trust. In the past, trust was created through intermediaries. Banks relied on each other to verify transactions. Payments required multiple steps of confirmation. Settlement required manual reconciliation. But in the digital era, trust is shifting from intermediaries to infrastructure. Infrastructure becomes the new trust layer. Interoperability becomes the new trust language. Instant settlement becomes the new trust standard. XRP was engineered for a trust framework that relies on infrastructure rather than intermediaries. 3000 XRP symbolizes alignment with this new trust framework. Let us now explore the concept of real-time global liquidity. The financial system of the future cannot rely on liquidity that sits in accounts scattered across the world. Liquidity must move. Liquidity must be mobile. Liquidity must respond to economic activity in real time. The world is shifting into an era of dynamic liquidity. And XRP was designed for dynamic liquidity. 3000 XRP symbolizes awareness of this shift because it connects the individual to the architecture of mobile liquidity movement. Now let us discuss the shift toward intelligent messaging. The world is abandoning outdated formats of financial communication in favor of ISO 2022, a system built around structured data, rich information, and real-time interoperability. When messaging becomes intelligent, settlement must match that intelligence. This is where technologies like XRP align naturally. 3000 XRP becomes symbolic because it represents understanding of the merger between intelligent messaging and instant settlement. Now let us explore the global layer. Financial modernization is happening in every region of the world. Europe is building instant settlement frameworks. Asia is deploying cross-border digital rails. The Middle East is investing in digital currency infrastructure. Africa is accelerating mobile payment adoption. Latin America is shifting toward digital clearing systems. North America is adopting real-time payment networks. This global momentum creates a synchronized transition. And synchronized transitions create waves that lift systems built for the new era. XRP exists inside this synchronization. 3000 XRP symbolizes alignment with a world modernizing in one collective motion. Let us now go deeper into the most important truth, the meaning behind the question. Is 3000 XRP enough to change your life? The real answer is not about numbers. It is about awareness. It is about understanding the shift. It is about realizing that global finance is turning into a system that looks nothing like the one we grew up with. 3,000 XRP does not change your life. Understanding the future changes your life. Recognizing the shift changes your life. Seeing the architecture behind global value movement changes your life. The asset is simply a symbol of your awareness. Now let us explore the deeper psychological meaning behind being early. Being early to a technological transformation creates clarity long before the world sees it. You start noticing the patterns. You start recognizing the upgrades. You start understanding why modern systems need settlement assets that operate in real time. This clarity becomes life-changing, not financially, but mentally. Because once you understand the future, you stop fearing it. Now let us discuss the ecosystem forming around modern settlement. Settlement is not just speed. It is liquidity sourcing. It is interoperability. It is automation. It is verification. It is data flow. It is mobility. It is compliance. Modern settlement requires all of these layers to function together as one cohesive system. XRP was designed as a component inside this cohesive system. 3,000 XRP symbolizes comprehension of that structure. Let us go even deeper, the shift toward programmable finance. The future of global money will be programmable. Payments will execute automatically based on conditions. Liquidity will adjust automatically based on market flow. Contracts will settle automatically based on data. Programmability requires instant settlement rails. Programmability requires interoperable digital assets. Programmability requires infrastructure that can execute without delay. XRP was built for programmable settlement, and 3,000 XRP becomes symbolic of standing on the threshold of that programmable future. Now let us examine the final and most profound layer, the collapse of the old system. The legacy financial system is not slowing down by accident. It is slowing down because it has reached the limit of its design. It cannot scale further. It cannot accelerate further. It cannot integrate digital value. It cannot operate at the speed of global commerce. The rails must change. The architecture must change. The liquidity model must change. The messaging standard must change. The entire system must change. This is the shift people feel intuitively. 3,000 XRP symbolizes awareness of this inevitability. The shift is not coming. The shift is already happening. And being aware of the transformation gives people the sense that they are participating in something larger than themselves, something structural, something historical, something that will redefine how value moves across the planet. So is 3,000 XRP enough to change your life? Not because of wealth, but because of awareness. Not because of prediction, but because of understanding. Not because of numbers, but because of perspective. The real life-changing element is not the amount. It is the knowledge that the world is transitioning into a new digital era, and that you understand that transition before most of the world realizes what is happening. 3,000 XRP is a symbol of presence inside a global shift, a reminder that the future belongs to the systems that move value instantly, freely, intelligently, and across every network on Earth. And the deeper truth is simple. Your life changes not when the world transforms. Your life changes when you recognize the transformation. In the second half of this script, we will go even deeper into the psychology of early awareness, the global transformation happening beneath the surface, the meaning behind being positioned inside a technological shift, and why people feel that 3,000 XRP represents a threshold inside the next era of value movement.